Download Vinted.
Good evening. Good evening. I don't know who's calling me baldy in the comments. I think they got the wrong fucking show. And apologies for the sound effects. Kelly what was you doing? Eating something?
Oh, we're doing anything.
Well, it sounded like someone was opening a wrapper or something, and I was coughing my guts up. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Kelly's joined us. How you been, mate?
Yeah, been good, mate. Been good.
Good. Yeah. I think we should change that song. Should we change that song? Let them all come down to the den. I think it's the last place we want to face anyone at the minute. An absolute horror show last night. I was struggling bad. I'm still in bits. I'm dripping now in sweat. I'm trying to not let me bin steam up. I've got the window open. I think I got COVID. That could have finished me off, that 4-0 scoreline. But we're going to go a little bit different tonight. We're going to do a den debate. We're going to. It's massive, obviously, online, and rightly so. People going, this is wrong. It was Rowett. No, it wasn't Rowett. It's the players. It's Edwards. Rowett was the best thing since sliced bread. So we're going to. I want to read your comments. I want you to tell me in the comments. I don't want comments along the lines of, do you think we should sign a player from Venezuela, which I've already seen the comments. I want to hear your opinions. I want to hear what you think's going wrong in the comments. I want to know what you think the solution is. And then me and Kenny, if you've got any questions for us, if you want to direct either thing you're going to say at Kenny or me, then by all means do so. And we'll answer your questions. We'll discuss it as a group. But firstly, Ken, you're up first. Honestly, I just don't know what to say or do anymore. I don't think I could have done a post-match analysis, even if I felt well enough, because I can't work out what's going on there. I actually hold my hands up. I'm baffled. What are you saying, mate?
I think there's a couple of things that are wrong. I like Joe Edwards, and there's an element of me that feels sorry for him to an extent. Although I do think that he's trying to play Man City football with Millwall players. Most of these players have been at the club for a long time, or the ones that we moan about the most, like the Coopers, the Murray Wallaces, Danny McNamara's, Saville. Bradshaw, all these players have come out through a generation of Millwall playing a particular way, and most of them are incapable of doing it. I also believe that the formation that we're playing is exactly the same formation that we played under Rowett. The only difference is that we, for 15, 20 minutes, give it a good go. And based on that formation, we're absolutely fucking knackered after half an hour. You know, first half if we're lucky. And look, the players that we have are not good enough to play in that formation and play that way for 90 minutes. The big problem I have is that why are we not changing that when it's evident? So my thing is that the players aren't good enough to play that way. Whether they're on 10 grand a week or whatever, they're not good enough to play that way. That's why they've been signed at Millwall for cheap money, and a lot of them are on cheap wages. However, on the flip side of that, Joe Edwards should be aware of that and should try and change at least formation or style of play until we get in the players that we that are able to do it. So I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a 50-50.
Yeah.
However, the players can't change.
Well, exactly. He's stuck with it. Do you mean they can't change us in they're too in the mould of what they're used to doing, or they can't change us in we can't get anyone new until summer?
Well, I mean, Dan, look at Jake Cooper.
I always back Coops, mate. I couldn't believe what I was watching last night.
But Jake Cooper is that vulnerable every game. He's also the captain of our team. He's never ever going to be a centre back that can play out from the back and someone that you can trust as your last line of defence with a ball at his feet with two fast young strikers coming at him, for instance.
Yeah. So
why are we doing it?
What do you think we should do then?
Well, you know, I've always said this. Yeah. I think that when you're playing against a 5-3-3 or whatever it is that they do, 5-3-2 or whatever it is. Actually, a 4-4-2 is a fantastic way of cancelling that out because you have two players on each wing. When you're attacking, you can overlap. Most of the time, you've now only got one, either a left wing back or a right wing back. And against Ipswich, who played their wing backs really high, that would have been perfect for us on an attack, especially if you've got two up front, because then the three concentrate on the two up the top. And you're not going to have that glide over. You're going to have an overlap on a side. And, you know, but it stems from selection as well. You know, you could easily say that the last 6, 7, 8 years of transfers of people that we've brought in is not enough. We're behind. We're so behind.
Slipping further and further behind.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, with a 4-4-2, I think that's dead in football. But I get what you're saying. Neil Harris executed it very well for us. We was very well drilled. We was very rigid. And we put it on teams directly. And then played off those, you know, one striker playing off another. The two strikers thing, see, I mean, on Saturday, I'd be tempted to say Sheffield Wednesday, below us in the league, must-win game because we're now sitting one place above the bottom three. I didn't know Obafemi was ill last night, but if Obafemi's fit, and you're going to say no, because I know, because the strikers you've liked at me all down the years, could you see, I mean, I like them both, but can you see Obafemi and Bradshaw playing up front together?
No,
one's on the other one's shoulders, it'd be about 6'3".
I know. You'd have to have you'd probably say Fleming up there.
Yeah.
With either Bradshaw or Obafemi, and let Fleming drop into that 10 when we're defending. The thing is, and also, I'm going to say this: we mock 4-4-2 against teams that play with three at the back, but it weren't too long ago that we beat Everton, Bournemouth, Leicester, champions of England at the time, playing 4-4-2.
Yeah,
against a 5-3-2 or whatever it was that they played.
Did you think Rowett? Do you think what some people are now saying? And someone put a comment earlier, and I completely get where the guy's coming from. He said, "You all said it was Rowett, and now he's gone. The new manager's in. You're all blaming the players, and that has happened to an extent. I'm guilty of that. I think personally, Rowett was on the panel last night. You can't argue with his performance as Millwall manager. However, as much as I didn't like him as our manager, I'll give him credit again. He's not stupid. And for those saying this went about and under Rowett, at the start of this season, we lost 4-0 to a second-string Reading side in the League Cup at the Den. We lost 3-0 to Leeds, 3-0 to Swansea. We could have lost 6-1 at Norwich. We lost 3-1. I think Rowett did what he could with the players he had. But then I thought he felt right. These players now, like you said, the gap's getting bigger. We're never improving enough investment-wise. And I think he saw the writing on the wall and got out when he could. Do you know what I mean? Because I know we was 3-0 down at half time last night. We have only lost 3-0. We've lost 3-0 plenty of times under Rowett and a couple of times under Edwards as well.
Yeah. I think the difference between Rowett and Joe Edwards is that what come out of Rowett's mouth pissed me off more than sometimes the performance on the pitch. Yeah. There was just the way he acted, and you're right. We didn't concede as many goals, although we did sometimes lose. Your 4-0s, your 3-0s under Rowett. We definitely did defend well. However, we used to spend 90 minutes defending.
Yeah, I think I can back Rowett. The 3 years previous, it didn't happen. Right, we didn't ever get really heavy defeats. But that start of this season, I mean, I looked at Gary Rowett's last 5 games in charge a bit earlier on as I was planning the show, and it weren't fucking great reading by any stretch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Our current 5. Am I looking at the right thing here? No, that's our fixtures. Our last 5 results there on the screen: 4 defeats, a draw against Preston. Now, I've been quite vocal about backing Joe Edwards. I think he needs time. I think personally, this was going to happen to whoever came in next. I don't think he's at his depth. I don't think that he doesn't know his football, because again, for the start of every game, Coventry on Sunday as well, and last night and a lot of others, we are really good for 15, 20 minutes, but then we can't sustain that. It's like, I'll get the feeling it's like there's not a lot of confidence from me towards the team in a minute. There's not a lot of confidence amongst the fan base. And I think as much as he tries to rile them up, and he does do that, because first of all, we should have had a penalty last night. I'm not banging that trouble. We would have lost the game anyway, probably. Cooper's fucking been wrestled to the ground right in front of the ref. Giggs lifted his shirt nearly over his head. Then I think Ryan Leonard's tested their keeper twice, and he looked suspect, their keeper. Parried a couple of them.
Yeah.
But for some reason, we just fold. It's like he's sending them out there, and they ain't really got the belief. And he goes, look, you can do this. Look, take this box of toothpicks and go and knock that wall down there. And they go, yeah, we can do this. And then after about 15 minutes, they go, boys, we ain't never getting through this wall with these fucking box of toothpicks. Should we just fuck it off? And then it's like when you're at work sometimes. I've done this before when I was a builder. I don't know if you go in with good intentions. And as the day goes on, you're like, oh, for fuck's sake. And you end up doing less and less and less. And then you go for a turnout about 2 o'clock. Do you know what I mean? Then you start on your shoulder and fucking moving. And I think it's a little bit, I don't think they're down in tools. I don't think they don't want to win. I just don't know if the belief's there. Do you know what I mean? Because the difference from when we start matches, if you would have said to us you're going to be 3-0 down at half time after 20 minutes last night, what would you have said to that?
Well, you'd say you wouldn't think it, would you? Because us as Millwall fans, as much as we moan about the team and the performance, we all know that Saturday morning we're all going to be expecting us to win 6-0. It's one of them. Look, the players technically are good enough. I strongly believe there's a formation problem, and I've said this under Rowett as well. That formation doesn't work for us, and I'm not crying out for 4-4-2. I'm saying that's what I would use. I'd go back to basics, and I honestly think that we do better playing like that. It compacts the midfield, it compacts the defence, and you have 2 striking options. Like, it's not fucking rocket science. Sometimes we try to overcomplicate these things, and we haven't got the type of players to complicate things. make it simple, and we simply do better.
I think football in general, I think, is people overcomplicate things. And we'll go to the comments in a minute. We're going to read some people. So in the comments, you know, I want you to put along the lines of, look, this is what I think the problem is. Explain your reasons and your answers, and I'll read that out, and then we can all have a chat on that one. Another thing that I picked up on, because honestly, like, after last night, I don't know if it's because I'm ill at the minute or what, I've always got something to say. I've always got an opinion on what's happened and why. And I genuinely didn't have a clue last night. Joe O'Mara put a little video in our group chat, and he said there was people just sitting there last night after the game had finished. It was emptied out, and there was people just still sitting in their seats, staring at the pitch in disbelief. What I said about this individual error thing, switch on, concentration. Now, if you're constantly suffering due to individual errors, then you eliminate the individuals that are causing those errors. He did do that last night in Tanganga. Okay, he didn't do it in Sarkic. I don't blame Sarkic for any of the goals last night. I know some people have, but I don't. I would love to, but I'm honest, and I don't think he could have done anything with any of them. I get the third one, the Kiefer Moore. It did seem to take an eternity to go in. You can't have someone that strong in the air, fucking unmarked, 5 yards out, heading it back across goal. Defender on the line as well. So I just genuinely don't know. Let's start with Colin. He was first in. Sorry. Colin says, players simply don't have the mentality to dig in and fight for points. We don't seem to have anyone taking responsibility in the playing staff. Previous recruitment has been sticking plasters. Yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying there. No one takes responsibility. There's not. We've got no leaders on the pitch. I do completely agree with that.
We don't have a single leader in our team.
I feel Saville can do it sometimes, but that sort of player. But it's just that when we concede one, you just get the feeling we're fucked, and they're all looking around at each other, thinking, "What are we going to do here?" Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's when you need somebody on that pitch to turn around and go, "Fucking come on, let's pipe it up." 20 minutes, we've been a better team. We keep going. Let's keep doing the things we were doing, get in their faces, and let's do something about it. Let's not all get our heads down. But I've heard Cooper speaks the way he speaks and the way he acts. He's not a captain. It's almost like he's the guy that will always be in the team. So let's make him a captain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about sticking plasters with the recruitment, I'll get that to a point, but I think we was all excited when we got Mike Obafemi, when we got Adam Mayer, and when we got Jafir Tanganga. We was all like, "Well, these aren't Rowett wouldn't have got these players." Everyone praised Edwards at this point. This is brilliant from Edwards. This is what we want to see. He's got better contacts than Rowett, and he's not gone after low knees from Derby that he's used 1,000 times before. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not too sure. The mentality to dig in, there's definitely a mentality problem or a confidence problem. But moving on to tying it in with what Barry says, he's kept it simple. He just said too many players just don't care. I don't know if it's that, because Coventry, look at Coventry, right? We was brilliant against Coventry. It was exactly the same against Coventry, right, at the start of the game as we was last night against Ipswich. So his team talk is riding them, right? He's getting them motivated to go out there and try and get points on the board and to attack. Now, Coventry, previous 21 games before us, won 10 at home. This is at home. Drawn 10 and lost 1. Even when, it was 1-0 up and eventually they equalised. We reacted as a team as if we was fucking 6-0 down at Anfield. No one's gone, "Hey, look, it's fine. They've scored a goal, all right, sloppy from Tanganga, but let's not let it affect us this bad." It's just like, I don't know, but I don't believe the manager can't motivate them or the players don't care. And look, I might be wrong, because I honestly don't know the problem. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I think that, look, when people are saying, Edwards has lost the dressing room, that's evident that that's not the case. The way that we come out in the first 20, 25 minutes. The problem is with the players in that situation. One, because we don't have a leader in the team. Now, that could be his fault. But it does look like the whole mentality of that team, or the confidence, just comes out their body. You know, but the problem is,
visible,
and we did see that under Rowett, right? But what we done with Rowett when that happened is we turned around and said, Rowett is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting to get different results. Unfortunately, like I keep saying, that's exactly what we're doing with Edwards. It's just the personnel changes every now and then. Most teams, if you looked at Ipswich's squad, you will see that probably more than likely, other than a couple of changes, their team is that all the way through the season. And we chop and change all the time. You know, all the time.
I think that's another massive thing in football a minute, where you know, the squad rotational. I'm a believer you can get it. Well, maybe because we're not getting it right. Maybe if we do get it right, he will keep it fucking the same. But there's been lots of change in every game. But for me, again, that points towards that he is not happy with certain individuals. And even fucking grief as the manager.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you even think on in terms of? Let's have a look at the league table where we're sitting. Right, where is it? There it is. I mean, it's not good reading, is it? However, if we beat Sheffield Wednesday, Saturday, which we absolutely must do, we could go right up to 16th. So, if we was to lose Saturday, do you think he's close to losing his job? Do you think they're going to invest long term in him? I did say it's going to get worse before it gets better, and it's going to be a long, fucking horrible season.
Yeah, I remember turning around and saying in a live stream, why Gary Rowett was still in charge, that this season you could have Pep Guardiola in charge. We are going to be in a dogfight by the end of the season. And that's what's going to happen. I think we might rescue it by the skin of our teeth. But I also, at this moment in time, I'm not convinced that it would be a bad idea if we did go down.
Yeah, well, no,
there needs to be a reset sometimes, and I don't know how we're going to get that done without something drastic happening. Because if we stay up by the skin of our teeth, does anything change?
Yeah. Well, this is what David Sell was pretty much saying. You know, it's the ball to blame. We've never replaced decent players. We've had, I think, as I said, I think whatever manager comes in, this was going to happen to him. A little bit like the end of, I'm not saying we're Man United, but when Fergie left Man United or when Wenger left Arsenal, you know, it's been going all right for a few years under two different managers. But whether these players were good signings or bad signings from either of our previous two managers to Edwards, it's just all coming to an end, and it needs a complete reset, a complete new squad. And as I said, I just think whoever come in was going to be facing this. Was it a good idea to give it to an untried and untested manager to put that on him in his first job? I mean, first game, 4-0 winners. Everyone's saying, fucking hell.
Yeah.
You know, but if it was to go wrong like it is, can Edwards handle the pressure of the fan base? He's never had to do that before. He's only ever had that secondary, and that's to Frank Lampard, who is, you know, a football icon in his country. So it was always, well, if Lampard fouls, he's not just a manager, he's a fucking ex-England and Chelsea fucking football. You know, I always thought Lampard was overrated, nowhere near as good as Gerrard. But you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean? It's always going to be all about fucking Lampard. So although he would have been involved in that, because Lampard did foul more than once at jobs he's had, I don't think he's it's always indirect, like, you know, bad vibes. Whereas with him now, it's all on him. And I just hope he doesn't sink.
Well, the big problem is that, you know, if he can't handle the pressure, the likelihood is he might actually walk. And if he walks, I'm telling you now, Joe Edwards will go to another team and succeed. Without question, I think he's got a bright future. And you'd rather the bright future would be with us. But who are we going to get in? Who are we going to get in for the last, 14 games of the season or however many it is, to save us? You have to get like Sam Allardyce in or something, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. And Patrick saying, don't blame Edwards. he's playing good football, but he's got a lot of dead wood in his squad. I do agree with that, but I do feel as well that people he's brought in, you know, I mean, you could be gone before the end of the season, not Edwards. Fucking hell. The people he's brought in, look at Tanganga, for example. Everyone's fucking dancing in the streets when Tanganga signs. And last night, fair play to Edwards, because I said in my preview, get him out the fucking side. And that was a big call, and he did drop him. Turns out it didn't matter because we let him 4 goals anyway.
I think with Tanganga, I know a lot of people, you know, already can't stand him. You know, there is a player in there. And I remember you saying, I think on one of your post-match or something, turning around and going, listen, you know, you don't go and nearly sign for AC Milan or have a man of match performance against Man City and then become a bad footballer.
Yeah.
You know, that's the truth. And this kid or this guy has not had a lot of game time. And I think, you know, it's the same as a manager. You turn around, everyone turning around and saying, giving Joe Edwards time. It's his first season in the Championship. Well, then you need to give someone like Tanganga time then. Because I'm telling you now, we've had 8-9 seasons with Jake Cooper, right? And he's an absolute liability at the back. But nobody, I haven't seen anybody be like, get Jake Cooper out of that squad, right? And he was directly responsible for one of the goals with 2 absolute basic mistakes.
First one, he just got to put it out, play first opportunity he's got.
And he didn't win a single header, right? We're attacking wise, he didn't win a single header. You know what?
Yeah, no, I mean, to be fair, he gets fucking so much physical attention, doesn't he?
Yeah. But if he's getting so much physical attention, why are we not going, right, listen, Cooper's going to have 3 players on him, right? He's going to make a run back post. Let's stick the ball front post where Murray Wallace is hiding. You know, it's really simple.
Dave Davis, great name. Got to say, even though the style of football that's being played can sometimes be nicer to watch than anything under Brow, if they can string 90 minutes together to get a win, it's irrelevant. Yes, it's what you were saying, Ken. But look, I can't sit here and read that and go, yeah, you're right, because I was one of the biggest advocates of, I can't watch this anymore under Brow. I need excitement. Now, is excitement a relegation dogfight? Well, if we start on the last day, of course it fucking will be. But you ain't caught COVID through the fucking camera from me, have you?
Oh, mate, it's called these things. I could smoke 20 fags in a row, wouldn't cough once, but I have a puff of this, I'm in trouble.
As soon as they ban them fucking things, the better, innit? Horrible figs. Horrible figs. SJC says we can keep having the same discussions week in and week out, hoping the next game that we show up, or get rid of the youth coach we have as manager. Get rid of the youth coach we have as
manager. What about Joe Edwards, I think?
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
It was a bad appointment from the start. Now, again, I wanted it. I said, give it to an unknown. If it don't work out, no problem. You can fuck him off and look again. A lot of people saying we did it on the cheap and it was a panic appointment. I did hear the other day that Nathan Jones actually had the job and then went, I need a weekend to think about it, and come back and fucked it off, and that's why we got Edwards. But I don't think it's a cheap appointment from the club. I think it's an ambitious one. What do you think?
Yeah, I think if there was ever a time to give someone like Joe Edwards an opportunity, is when we were. People seem to forget we were already on a massive downward spiral before Joe Edwards came in.
Yeah, that's very true.
You know, massive, and we were, in my opinion, we were going to end up here anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, so whether Rowett was still in charge, we still would have been here. So, you know, let's see what he's got. If he can keep us out of the relegation for the season, then brilliant. If he can't, all right, then we go again. I honestly believe that we need to give him a summer with the boys. You know, he's came in halfway through a championship season when we're on our arse anyway. I don't know what too many people are expecting. And we go back to that bag of shit analogy that we used all the time, where he's unpacked it and he's got to sort it out. You know, with sorting that out, you are going to lose a lot of games.
Yeah.
you'll end up.
You're gonna expose our weaknesses and go, fucking right, that's what they are.
Yeah. And in the summer, and listen, I'm not buying all this. We've got a small budget, bollocks. If James Berylson wanted to spend 20 million, he could spend 20 million. What he needs to do is he needs to turn around and go, right, we've had this season. Let's say we've managed to stay up by the skin of our teeth.
Yeah.
I need this, and this. We can get rid of this and this. And that's the team that I believe, because we don't want to go in the Premiership, but that's the team that I believe could be a mid-table to promotion pushing Millwall side next season.
I think you're right. And I think if we do stay up, I think on reflection, it might not feel like it now, but it could be a good thing seeing exactly what we need, because we need, we need centre backs. That's absolute fucking obvious to a blind man. I mean, Wes Harding was never going to be a Millwall fucking legend. He was never going to play years and years at the club. We got him on a free, right? Wasn't expecting to play. Gary Rowett never played him. He come in, scored a couple of goals, had a few really good games. He is an out-and-out top-end League One defender, could survive at the Championship if he's at the best of his game. Jake Cooper I love, Murray Wallace I love, but they're coming to the end now. Bolkowski obviously out of contract, he'll probably go. Ryan, your mate Lenny just seems to get better of age, but we need, especially the way Edwards wants to play, we need to start at the back, because there's no point going out and getting Michael Obafemi and fucking all these players and we can't get the ball to them. We need to start at the back where he wants to play from and execute it correctly to get us to the next fucking. It's like playing a fucking computer game, isn't it? You can't fight the end level boss till you fucking run over a few mushrooms and jump a few bridges. You know what I mean? You've got to start at the back and you've got to fucking get it right there and then work through the team.
Yeah.
At the minute, I believe he's just trying to patch it as best as he can, player-wise, not how we play-wise. I think how we play, I think he's going to do that regardless. That's what I think could be his downfall, because he's like, look, you see all these great managers, they come in and go, that's how we're going to play. I don't care if you fuck it up, and some of them do, but that is how we're going to play regardless. Do you think, I'll go to Speed Demon's comment in a minute, do you think right here, right now, we've already said, I think, pretty much that, do you think it'd be best for Edwards now to bite the bullet, abandon ship and go, right, look, that ain't going to work with the players we've got. I've given them the opportunity to do it for long enough and they haven't done it. So we're going to now play this way just to get us safe. And then I'll have to reassess it in the summer.
I think that's exactly what Rowett was doing. So why don't we, go back? And at the moment, let's be honest, a lot of people would go for a 0-0 or a 1-1 against Sheffield Wednesday, or a 1-1 or a 0-0 against Southampton, and a boring 0-0.
Remember, I'm laughing because you remember the time I made the graphic, Draws. It was Gary Rowett on the front cover of Jaws, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Can't keep doing these fucking streams and going to games and it's fucking 0-0. You bite someone's hand off for a 0-0 right now. You always think what you ain't got as a football fan.
I know, this is what I mean. So I think that he has got to bite the bullet. We went forward at the back in the second half. We played a lot better. I felt like we were a bit more compact. But yeah, you just got. I've said it a million times. Look, you've had your games now, and you know what you need, right? Go and see if you can go and do the basics now. See if we can nick a couple of wins. Just get safe, and then go back to losing games, trying to do it the way that you want to do it.
Once we're safe, yeah.
And then you've got an idea on what we need.
Yeah. Fuck me, have you? Right, let's go back to Speed Demon, because it's a bad name, but it's a good comment. What we are seeing now is a function of years of poor transfers, dealings, and a lack of player sales. It's simple as that. We are probably 5 years behind the majority of our competition with an Asian team. And that I think me and Kenny have almost echoed that in this show. I know I've definitely said before, is Edwards the man for the job? I believe he is, because I believe he's got a backlog now. And I think I've used like an old banger of a car as an innuendo. You used a pile of shit as it. I think it's definitely that. And I do believe, as I'm sure you do, Ken, that no matter what manager come in at this point, he was going to be the fucking David Moyes, wasn't he? He was going to be the fucking Uri Henry, fucking, he was going to be anyone that's gone after Lee Bowyer at fucking Chol. And it's just the club are just in this period now we've had fucking 6, 7 really good years.
Yeah.
And now we do need to try and dig ourselves out of it. Michael, am I feeling better? No, I think you put that earlier before. I've been coughing all over you for fucking 35 minutes. Right, I do want to cover this. Super Steve, don't think we even deserve to sing Let 'Em Come anymore. We don't sing and don't put up a fight at home. We've discussed this before of us thriving off an atmosphere. It's always difficult during the week, whether we play well or not, we don't usually do, especially on the telly, to generate an atmosphere. 3,000 Ipswich fans last night. I know there was 3-0 up. That's all you could hear on the telly. All you could hear on Pete's full-time reaction. But our ferociousness and the fear factor that we hold, that's long gone. I said that to someone today. I was like, it's blinded at the den. I said, 2-3 games a season now. It has completely, and again, I will go back to Rowett. Everyone's going, 3 out of the last 24 games at home, Rowett won. And that was a big thing for our club, was it being the fortress. And now, fuck me, the fortress has well and truly been reduced to rubble, isn't it? It's just not fucking what it was. And I was a bit embarrassed last night when all I could hear was the Ipswich fans. I wasn't there. I was ill. You wasn't there. So I'm not digging out the people that was there, because even the people that had showed up, there simply weren't enough of them to fucking get out with the songs and the atmosphere anyway, was there?
No. I mean, to be fair, it looked quite dead. It's understandable. It's a midweek game. It's on Sky. A lot of people are going to turn around and go, what's the point in going with? But the thing is that if we were flying high like Ipswich were, we would have sold a lot more. But you're not going to continue to spend your money, your hard-earned money, on walking out of a stadium being depressed and having the ump. Football is an entertainment sport. And that's why we go. We go to be entertained and come out, happy or content. And for a season now, we haven't. So.
Well, Steve Williams says if he doesn't win on Saturday, then he's got to go. If he can't adapt to get the best out of what we have, then he ain't up to the job. I mean, I think he does get the best out of what we have for 15, 20 minutes at the beginning, and then I think the confidence seems to drain out of him. If we was to lose on Saturday, Ken, do you, one, think he will go? And do you, two, agree with that decision if it does happen?
I don't think for a guy that's in his first management role, it would be a good idea for him to leave a club. Because I think that just shows that, when the game gets tough, you walk away anyway. So it's not going to look good on his resume. And secondly, if he does, so the answer to your second question is no, I wouldn't agree with it. I don't see anybody that can get us out of this hole any better than what Joe Edwards could. And I think I think it was Steve that just said that comment. I think the big word there is adapt. We need to adapt to the players that we got, and then try and get over the line for the next 14 games.
Yeah, I agree. Super Steve Lee says it's quite simple. Defensive errors and a terrible goalkeeper. Right, so let's pick the bones out of last night. The first goal was Cooper. He should have put out a play. Didn't. Don't you find, though, because I suppose the level the other teams are at, we get punished for every single fucking mistake we make. Every single one. First one, he should have put out a play. He didn't. Then it come back to him in the box. He looked like he switched his boots over on his feet. He fucking, I don't know what he did. Just fucking fell over. Knocks it behind. Corner comes in. Or plays short, whatever. And then that flick header, Sarkic wouldn't have seen that because obviously there was a fucking load of people in front of him. It's come from over the top of a few Mill players, and it's looped over really fucking high, and he dropped down. I don't blame him for that one at all. The second one is bad body shape, as the commentator said on the live last night from Wes Harding. But we was very stretched, and Harding was trying to keep him there but see what's going on behind him. But it's a bad goal. The third goal went in fucking slow motion. I knew Kiefer Moore would score against us. I about devastated the O'Maras. But that third goal, I get that it was a slow header that bounced and then looped up. Harding was there, and it did again just drop just under the bar. But I'm not having Sarkic. I said it cost us, but it wasn't. I don't blame him at all for either of them.
You would have blamed I would have blamed Sarkic if Wes Harding weren't in the way. The reason why Sarkic didn't die for that, I'm not saying he would have got it, was because he had a defender on the line next to him.
Yeah, that's right. He sort of went like that, and then Harding was there, and it was fucking
yeah. And also the penalty that weren't a penalty.
What's that?
The penalty weren't a penalty, was it? It was. I mean, it was about a foot outside the box.
I thought they scored 4. Fucking hell! Yeah, it was outside the box, wasn't it? Yeah. Fuck. Man, I think I was waving the white flag by that point, and on the sofa, struggling to keep my eyes open. Yeah, of course they scored in injury time. We're talking about 4-0. Yeah, that was outside the box, but again, very stretched. Murray Wallace played. Well, Murray Wallace has been in and out with Joe Bryan. He seems to alternate, but Joe Bryan got a 3-match ban for something he did against Coventry. Violent conduct. He must have thrown his camera at someone or a skateboard. I don't know what. I was like, what, Joe? Fucking Joe. I keep going to call him Joe Edwards, Joe Bryan. Alan Fowler says the analyst should be don't know what I'm supposed to say, but basically Alex Aldridge get out of our club. I'm seeing a lot of this, and I'm sorry, I don't think you can lay the blame at fucking the recruitment guy. Listen, we got in Mike Obafemi, everyone was buzzing. Adam May, everyone went, yeah, signed a decent young player, great. Tanganga, everyone was buzzing about Tanganga. I didn't know a lot about him. Casper De Norre, everyone loves, and when he come in, that was via Alex Aldridge. Who else? Joe Bryan.
Fleming.
Yep. So, I mean.
Well, Rowett more, wouldn't it?
What more? No, yeah, but you can't. They'll only recommend players or they'll have a list to work with. It's not. I don't buy into this. I don't buy into this. It's about Alex Aldridge. He's a fucking very small cog in a very huge failing wheel at the minute. He fucking is. I know. I have faith in Joe Edwards. I can see what he's trying to do, but it's clear we need to take a step back to go forward. He's trying to change the culture of how we play, and I hope that includes new players soon. I honestly believe if we get through to the summer and we're not relegated, which I still don't think we will be, I genuinely believe that he'll end up being a fucking very good manager for us. And what you said, Ken, I think he goes anywhere else, and I think he succeeds. Is Mill then maybe not the right fit for him? It's a very unique club, and I'll be honest with you, I've spoken to people inside, and they've said the players love him. He's very fucking good, but it's whether he can incorporate what he wants to do at Millwall. And I was all for changing that. Do you know what I mean? It had to be done eventually. It had to be done eventually. We had to try and change the face of how we play to go with the fucking trend and keep tags or drag back all these other clubs that were saying are getting further and further away. And John Parr sums up very simply but very well. Right manager, wrong time.
I think it's a perfect time for Joe Edwards. I think that if you had any other manager right now, say for instance, if Nathan Jones had come in, I think he very quickly would have gone, fuck this, I'll wait to get sacked and get a pay packet. I think having someone like Joe who is not going to walk away, I guarantee he might get sacked, but he won't walk away. And so his only option is to try and make it right. I think he's the perfect acquisition for our team at this moment in time.
I'm all for him. I just think it is a results business, isn't it? And nowadays, you know, how many? I think he's got 16 points from 17 games, which isn't great. We've had some really good performances and then some really bad ones. And he said as well. He said Edwards, didn't he? After the defeat at Hull, he said we've not lost a game heavily for a long time. He said we're on the wrong end of fucking. And I was like, yeah, see that he's a good. And then obviously last night 4-0. Louis, in my opinion, it's Joe Edwards. He's the one that's inherited this lot of Gary Rowett, and they are good players. Honestly, he doesn't know what to do with these players. Doesn't know his best team or his best tactics. I think he knows what tactics he wants to implement. I agree. I don't think he knows his best team, or if he thinks he does, he puts them in and 3 or 4 of them players individual errors, which he then takes them out. I would like to see him go with a more settled side. I must agree, but they're good players. All right, are they good players? Ken, are they better than what they should be in a division? You can go through individuals if you want.
Well, I think, I'll go for individuals, no problem at all. I think that Sarkic, I'm not his biggest fan, by the way, but I will turn around and say that I think he's the best keeper at the football club. Sarkic makes a mistake and everyone wants to get rid of him, and Bart makes one, and it's like, but Bart done well for us 10,000 years ago. And that Connor Truman or whatever it is, I don't think he's had to save a ball for the last 2 seasons that he's been here. So that's Sarkic. Danny McNamara seems to be a lot more consistent when he's as a right back. Wes Harding, we was all really happy with Wes Harding, 2-3 months ago. He's had a bad spell. Jake Cooper has been going down a slippery road for a while now, and is starting to be found out by style of play, although could do a really good job for us if we went back to basics. And Murray Wallace is, for me, a great left back with no pace though. And we're up against tricky wingers now with pace, and he just can't do it. So I'd say that's a positional problem. If he was more centre back, he'd do better. Where are we going left wing? Fleming at the moment seems to be playing as a left winger. Never played as a left winger in his life. Honeyman played as a midfielder or a 10 his whole career, but was a winger for most of the time at Millwall until he's changed it, and I think he's done really well. Saville, for some reason, I get the opinion that Saville's like the hated player within Millwall Football Club, but loved by the fans. I feel like he's the one that's knocking on Joe Edwards' door and pissing him off every day, and so don't get a start all the time. Casper Dinor is a class act, could play in any team in the Championship and after teams in the Premiership. I think Ryan Leonard should be a centre midfielder. I honestly think he's telling Joe Edwards that he don't want to play midfield no more, because why he's still at the back, I do not know. Bradshaw's good, but he's not the player that can be playing as a lone striker. I don't know who else I've missed out on, but with the team that we have, if I've said it about 100 times here, but if we went to basics with the team we have, we could get better results. But trying to do this formation that Rowett tried for 3 seasons with the players that we've got is not working.
Well, he did change it at half time last night, didn't he? He took off Harding, put on Denor.
Yeah.
So he went with 3 more midfield based.
Yeah.
Instead of 5 back, look it around the back forever and foul with it, so we're under pressure.
Yeah.
Causing ourselves fucking issues.
Yeah.
We're going to be really interested to see what he does say, because like I said, I think Saturday the answer is go 4 at the back, stick someone in the 10 and go fucking 2 strikers. But I just can't see, Nisbet is out, done. And I think if they're both fit, he will play Obafemi and Bradshaw up front, which as much as I think they're both decent.
Do that, you need 2 wingers, Dan.
Yeah, you do.
That's the thing.
I've got a feeling he's not going to score. I'm not saying he's a bad player or it weren't a good signing. I've got a feeling he's not going to score 1 fucking goal for us, Obafemi. All he's done so far, and it ain't his fault, he's fucking run around in circles. It's a very difficult role to learn, to know how to learn to play for us as a striker. You do a lot of fucking fruitless work as well. I'm not sure what the answer is. Jamie Choke disagrees that it's the manager. He says it's the players. Even in mates, he says faults with the players. They are not up for it. Don't blame Edwards. The players need to step up, because now the shit has hit the fan. Chase down loose balls. Fight for the calls. I mean, what was the game he said? Was it QPR away? I think it's. They just did seem in that game, like they just, in the second half, they just like, fuck this. They just like clipping the ball back to QPR to fucking to
I mean,
come back at every opportunity.
I didn't watch that game, fortunately, so
Yeah.
I just had a load of loud voice notes from Danny.
I can imagine. Jonathan Bowdry, you said your tuppence worth is we've been knocked out by the death of John Berylson and James has been thrown in. Let's pick up the reins, dealing with the death of his father and Rowett leaving. Okay, yeah, it's been a very difficult time for the club. Would Rowett have left if John Berylson was obviously still alive and as the chairman? I don't know. I mean, he seems invested. James Berylson, he was there again last night. They cut to him and his mum early, didn't they? Going, oh, the chairman's here. And then I remembered that when we was 3-0 down. I thought, poor bastard, he must think, what the fuck? Come all this way to watch this shit. But I don't know. I mean, look, he's made his appointment. He'd only have so much involvement as the chairman. Surely he's not, he's based in America. He won't be majorly hands-on. He would have consulted Steve Kavanagh, Alex Aldridge and others before he appointed Joe Edwards. And he seems to have made not transfer funds, but wages available. Tanganga's going to be on a lot of dough, as is Obafemi. Obviously, Adam Mann, not so much. Obviously, he's come from League Two, and we signed him, but he's making funds available for players that we need. But he was all buzzing with it, like I said, oh, what a fucking window. That's a statement of intent, So, I don't know. What do you think? I don't think it's only so much involvement he would have as James Berylson.
I think that if you worked in an office for an American-based company, once every 3 months for the last 10 years, the owner of the company come down, said hello, bought your cakes, had a meeting and told you he was doing well, and then went back home. And then unfortunately one day he died and his son come down and said, look, I'm taking this over. As an employee of the football club, i.e. player, obviously some of the players that have been there for a long time are going to be upset. I would probably say that it's been probably a lot harder for the fans than what it has for, 70-80% of the players that, didn't know him or didn't know him for that long, etc., etc. We remember John Berylson for the world of good that he's done for our football club. And other than the likes of Jake Cooper, Bradshaw, but Saville, people that have been around for a long time would appreciate him. But we've probably got 40 players on the books. And I know that might sound a bit insensitive, and I don't mean it like that. But what I'm saying is that as an employee of the football club, how much would it affect you, bar a few?
No, I don't think it would, to be honest with you. I know what you're saying. John Robertson's blaming the players. He says, like any job, if the raw materials are not good enough, i.e. the players, no matter what manager who have it won't change. I know what you're saying, John. Yeah, I think it's getting to the point now where it's a combination of the two. Super Steve saying about the formation, Ken, like you do. Playing 5 at the back, we're still conceding far too many games. We look better when we went 4 at the back. We don't get overrun in midfield. I mean, look, yesterday, I think Joe Edwards might hold his hands up and agree with you there, Steve, because we did have 5 at the back. And at half time, he did change it. So I think there will be a formation change, especially, no disrespect to Sheffield Wednesday, because probably come down and beat us. But the opposition we've got coming to the end this Saturday is arguably a lot weaker than Ipswich. Having said that, I mean, look at the job he's done. Kieran McKenna at Ipswich. He's dragged them up. I think they was 12th, they said last night in League One when he took over. And he's got them promoted second place behind Plymouth. And they've just gone from strength to strength with togetherness and belief in the manager.
Small budget.
And they last night, once they kicked in, they looked fucking. I mean, at one point, I thought to myself, this could be 5 or 6 here.
Yeah.
And it weren't far off it, was it, in the end?
No, I mean, any score like that, we've been it for 6 a few times, haven't we, in the past? And I thought that was going to be one of them. And what I don't like at the moment is that you're seeing a lot of Millwall fans, we're very quick to turn, aren't we? You know, we're very, and try and blame someone, whether it's Alex Aldridge, whether it's Sarkic, whether it's Tanganga, Edwards, Barrett, you know, whoever it is.
Someone did mention Barrett earlier in the comments.
Yeah. You know, it's what we need to do is we need to. I mean, in my opinion, we need to give it a lot more time. We was already on this slippery slope when Rowett left. We can't remember that.
I do completely agree. Ashley Hoffman is saying it was a bad idea bringing in someone with no club / first team experience. The Championship is a hard league and he hasn't a clue what to do. Why aren't the players fit enough? Yeah, fitness does seem to be a bit of an issue. But again, that'll be down to a fitness coach. And we do seem, as a club, to have this issue. I mean, someone posted online the other day, I put it in a group, do you remember? Mason Bennett's played 33 games this year for fucking Burton. Like, it's more than just the issues on the pitch. The new training ground apparently now, well, that seems to have gone quiet. Don't know if it's happening. Money is an issue. We are a team that has allegedly been punching above, you know, budget-wise. But like Kenny says, look at fucking Ipswich. Look at them coming up. I mean, I do get what you're saying, Ashton. I think if a new manager's going to come in any division and it's a risk, you'd have to say the Prem, obviously, but the Championship as well. It is very unforgiving. And I will say this, we've had a very fucking tough month. Now, so there's no easy games in this division, there isn't. But we have had a very, very tough month with teams, Hull away, Coventry away. They're both right up there. Ipswich are fucking third. And obviously we've got Southampton away coming in 2 weeks' time. So Saturday is an absolute must-win. Looking at our games after Coventry, did look earlier. And there you go, some difficult fixtures coming up, but more winnable. And they can. Other than the Southampton one, I think you say Sheffield Wednesday, Watford we usually do all right at home, Blackburn away is massive. And then Birmingham at home is definitely winnable, but
I would say that, you know, we must win on Saturday, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. I would say that you could possibly get 5 points out of that. Sheffield Wednesday, a draw against Watford and a draw against Birmingham, if we're lucky.
I mean, Blackburn are right down there as well. If we look at the league table, I mean, you probably say at this point that Rotherham are gone. I mean, we don't want to be doing this. We don't want to be looking over our shoulder. Obviously, last night, I think Huddersfield got a result and Stoke beat QPR, so they both went above us. But just a little run to put together. And usually you get that new manager bounce, don't you?
Yeah.
We've not had that new manager bounce. We had the first game as the bounce. Then it went horribly wrong for a bit. Then it picked up over Christmas, didn't it? We beat QPR and Norwich. Norwich was a really good performance. Won those two games in like 4 days apart.
Just look at QPR's fixtures.
But you are.
Yeah, see, QPR have got Bristol City on Saturday away, but then they've got Rotherham.
Oh dear.
But they've got some hard games coming up. They've got Leicester, West Brom, Middlesbrough, Sunderland. So,
right, let's have a look what Alfie is saying. Alfie Lawrence Reeves. Under Rowett, we play very direct and non-flowing football. Therefore, whilst we had GR 4.5 years, other clubs have got better players and better and played longer and learning the way we want to play now. Yeah, it was sort of, I agree with what Alfie's saying is Rowett did all right, but he was a stopgap. He was never going to improve us, was he? We said that before, Ken, haven't we?
Yeah.
He was never going to improve us. Yeah, look, as a result, we're now 4.5 years behind the curve. Alex S says Cooper is making basic mistakes. Harding and Wallace are League One at best. We miss Hutchie's leadership. I agree with that. Definitely his leadership. I mean, even when he comes back a couple of times, Hutch, before he scored that goal at Bristol City, he got grief, didn't he?
Yeah.
People saying he's past it. He's very, very old. I mean, look, put it this way: we stay up next season. Can we go into that season with as good as he's playing Leonard, who's 31, nearly 32, Hutchinson's 32-ish, Cooper, I think, is 28, 29, and Harding, who's about the same as Cooper, and Murray Wallace. That's a lot fucking that needs replacing. That's a big fucking clear out at the back alone.
Yeah.
I think if you've got if you can keep Leonard fit, right, it'll be all right. If you can get Cooper around two much better centre halves, so he ain't got to seem to try and be thinking he's got to fucking run up the left wing, fucking go this way, go that way, spread the play, try and score from corners. Like you say, go back to basics with him.
Mm.
But that alone, with Bolkowski leaving as well, that six there is a big fucking six to replace. That's before you get even any further up the pitch.
I think that Jake Cooper needs to be led, and I think Jake Cooper needs to be captained instead of having all these responsibilities on top of his head. And I think you're right. He does need to have either an experienced centre back next to him or a good centre back next to him. And I think you've probably got that with Hutch when he's firing and fit. He's a leader and he's a good centre back to sort of marshal Cooper. But yeah, I mean, I'd get rid of them all.
He does play better, Cooper, when Hutchinson is with him.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, that's understandable. They've been at the club fucking 7 years, both of them, I think.
Yeah.
They come in very short space of time. It was look, they were two. If you look at that now, they were two. We got Hutchinson for nothing. We got Cooper for 400 grand. If you look at what we got out of them down the years, Murray Wallace as well, Bolkowski for the price we paid for him. Brilliant business, been brilliant players for us in this division, and made us to this point a established championship club. But I say they just come into the end of their fucking lifespan, haven't they?
Yeah, and I think that this is the problem with all these bids that we have, and we don't sell players. Jake Cooper was going to go to Rangers for 4 million, at one point, and for 4 million you could have got a Cresswell, and it's about starting that back up again, and having the next Jake Cooper ready. But as it stands, we don't have the next generation of centre back coming through. I mean, I don't even know. I couldn't tell you who the centre back is of the under-23s.
It's Chinakoli. He's Mona Bromley. But again, look, we know that they, and Alex Mitchell's out on loan. He's not an under-23s anymore. But we don't seem to go down that route, do we? We seem to have good youth sides. We seem to win things. I mean, look at the under-18s. They're in a quarter-final against fucking Chelsea at the Den. 2 weeks, or 12 days' time, 2 weeks, just a couple of days ago. And we have successful youth sides, but when it comes to the crunch, that there's definitely some sort of breakdown in the process between that final jump and getting into our first team, because you see teams that they beat and teams they finish above in their leagues, and they're coming above, teams from the Premier League. So why are these players not then going on to the first team? It's very, very strange. And I think it's a combination of everything. People say Adam Barrett and Aldridge again. I actually I was in the area the other day and I went to the training ground, right? I just had an hour to kill. I was driving past and I thought I'll have a look, see if they're training. And I drove past, and on the portal cabins, right by the entrance, there's some blue portal cabins. There was two geezers on the roof in Millwall tracksuits. One of them had like a big roller, and he was rolling up bitumen paint or something onto the roof. And the other geezer was standing there and filming him. Like, surely you can't do that. Like, it was like no fucking. I was a builder for years, and they used to call me the flip flop roofer. But when you're a football club like that, surely you got to get the right people in and the right health and safety measurements. But that training ground, it's falling to bits. His fucking roofs are leaking. Clearly, fucking nothing works. I just think we've been, surviving this whole time. But I just think everything needs a fucking revamp and a freshen up. And as much as I've just said, I don't think we'll go down. If we do stay up, I think next year we will, unless there's some fucking heavy investment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree. And if we're looking to play a particular style of football with the players that we've got, maybe it's not a bad thing to be in League One. And, you know, like a couple of people have said, we're years behind trying to play this style of football. And maybe in League One it's going to be easier to learn.
Or go down, have a fucking move and come back up.
Yeah.
It's so hard to get. That's a good fucking division. It's hard to get out there now. I don't want to go down. I know what you're saying. And maybe, you know, there's less pressure on Edwards. I mean, Rowett's gone now, but maybe if he had stayed to the end of the season and then walked, then we could have. I don't know, but it's fucking all these buts and maybes, isn't it? Jonathan Bowdry, and again, he said he has chosen the right manager at the wrong time. And unless Joe Edwards ditches his principles and makes us more compact, we will go down with these players as they can't play the JE way. I mean, again, I know it's not 90 minutes, and I always say this, when you say a football team's inconsistent, you could argue the worst way to be inconsistent is week to week. We can't even be that good with our consistency. We can't do it from fucking half to half or fucking minute to minute. So I do think they can play that way, but they just can't sustain it throughout a game. Just one game. And I don't know why. And lately the trend seems to be we are always on the front foot. We always start games well. Right? And then it's like teams have looked into it when they come at your first 15 minutes, then they'll gas out. I mean, they do fucking go for it in the first 15, 20. I think maybe to a point it's because they know what's coming. They know they're going to get a fucking hiding, and so they're just trying to get their noses in front. Well, that does happen. So I do think they can play the Joe Edwards way. And I know he likes to be open, and I want this to be more open, but I do agree with his formation change. But ditching his principles, I don't think he'll do it. I think he's got a strong mindset. He's very set in his ways of how he wants to play. And I don't think he will say, right, do you know what? Because if he does that, he sort of concedes that he maybe didn't know what he was doing with the players, the right thing to do him in the first place. I mean, I think it's always like with Rowett. Like I said, how is Rowett? If I had grown up watching the Gary Rowett side, I wouldn't have enjoyed football. Like Rowett, I used to believe, and I'm not saying he wasn't successful and he didn't do a good job, but if I was Rowett, I wouldn't want to play under a Rowett team, and I wouldn't want to be Gary Rowett coaching the side. To go out and say, right, look, consolidate, keep them at bay, and then we'll try and nick something in the last 15 minutes. I just wouldn't want to fucking coach football if that was the case. Do you know what I mean? And he wouldn't come out of that. He wouldn't try and go for the juggler, but maybe that's why, because look at what happened last night. We come out, went for the juggler, looked good 15 minutes, got pumped 4-0.
I think the problem is, though, Dan, is on the basis that we can only sustain that for 20 minutes to 25 minutes, it doesn't matter whether we, say, for instance, last night, it wouldn't have mattered if we'd scored 3 goals in 20 minutes. We still would have conceded 4. And I think that's what people are saying is, right, it's all right going for this 20-minute span of absolutely going for it, but we're not scoring goals from it, right? So actually, we need to change the way that we're playing, because that's not working. And what we're doing is we're gassing out after 25 minutes and conceding goals after. So we technically would have had to have scored 3 goals in 20 minutes playing that way to have a chance of winning the game over 90 minutes. It's not going to work.
That's what like you're saying. That's the sense I get. The players think we're gonna score. We're gonna let in a couple here at least. So we need to try and get something.
Yeah.
Before they come back at us. I like this guy, Jonathan Bowdry. He says he didn't cough at the start. He said lots of He said lots of deep-rooted problems at the club, which are secondary factors: recruitment, youth, transfer, business, etc. Yeah, we just punched for so long that we got nothing left in the tank, and now we're just fucking open to a big knockout blow. What would you do, Ken? What would if you was Joe Edwards and you walked in tomorrow to training? What's it today? Thursday. So they're probably off to yesterday, because usually they are Wednesdays off, don't they? Unless he had them in today, but I reckon he might not have done. Tomorrow's training, first day after the fucking Ipswich game. What do you go in and do as Joe Edwards? What would you try and do?
I think that Joe Edwards, it was talking about. I think that this Jonathan guy was talking about principles there, where I agree with you. In look, he hasn't got to drop his principles, but he probably has got to turn around and go, look, it ain't working.
Tweak it.
What I'm trying to make you guys do, it's not working. That's on me. All right. We need to go back to basics.
Like that.
We're going to change our formation, right? And we're going to try and we're going to put our energy into doing something new. You know, and also speak to the players like the Savills.
I was going to say exactly that. I was going to say, do you think he will? Because I know at the back end of Rowett's tenure, he got some of the players that he preferred, respected more, and were more senior players. He got them in for a meeting, like 4 or 5 of them. I mean, what do you think's going wrong? Where do you think we can improve?
Well, listen, I think you do that in every other line of work. You know, if in every other line of work, if you're not getting the results and you can't work it out yourself, or you're a little bit stuck, you bring your employees in and you go, how can we make this better? Yeah. And you're, you know, you should always be open to people's advice. You just be careful who you take. But the more advice you can get on board, the more you're going to learn. Look, Dan, you as a coach, I'm a football coach, and I ask every single parent every Sunday, you know, how do you think we got on? What could we have done better? And
They'll say my boy should play more minutes.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But like, some you listen to, some you forget about. You know, you got to learn.
Love this from Jamie Cho. We haven't really discussed this yet, but he's absolutely fucking right. You cannot play the same formation against every team. Do your homework and adjust per game. Otherwise, it's too easy for the other teams to guess your tactics. I mean, it might be difficult for teams to guess our team selection at the minute, but the tactics are always the same. Why not go in and go, right, look, this ain't working. We're going to go 4 at the back. We're going to get fucking Mayer on one wing, and fucking someone else, Watmore on the other. Fucking hell, anyone but really. But if Norton Cuffy's fit, we're going to get 2 strikers on the pitch, and we're going to fucking try and hit them. I mean, we do try and hit teams early anyway. But you're spot on, Jay. Like, can't keep just doing like teams will turn up Saturday. Sheffield Wednesday, if we do everything we've done in the previous 4 or 5 games, we'll turn up Saturday, right? We'll play 3 at the back, and I imagine Danny Roll, the Sheffield Wednesday manager, he will say, right, look, they're going to come at you with the crowd, maybe semi on their side, maybe semi on edge, the way things are. They're going to come at you first 15 minutes, right? They're going to create some half chances. It ain't going to be, it ain't going to be difficult for our goalkeeper probably to save them. We keep them at bay, and the more it goes, the crowd gets zapped from their energy. We start knocking the ball about. They start trying to play out the back. They'll fuck that up, and then we can capitalise. Once we've got the lead, go for the juggler. It's game over. Would you agree that's what a fucking manager would say walking in Saturday?
Without a doubt. I mean, you'd only have to look at the last, 3 games and go, yep. This is their formation. This is probably more than likely who's going to play there. It might change from that to that or that to that. And all we have to do is keep our wing backs high and play through the middle, then spread it out. Murray Wallace is going to commit. Jake Cooper will come over and he's too slow. And make sure we overload the back post.
Yeah, they do. Teams do that a lot as well, don't they? Fuck me. Dean Barrett says... As I'm a Reading fan, when we had Yap Stam in charge, we wanted to play professional possession football. He gave Jake Cooper pre-season and instantly knew he didn't fit that mould. Hence why he shipped him out. Yeah, we haven't. Yeah, obviously, in at the time that suited us. The way we played under Neil Harris. We'll never knock Neil Harris for that. The way we played under him, it was all Harris knew, and with desire. And I mean, I can imagine. I know Neil Harris. He's in the biggest cage in the world. He's not the most beautiful man in the world to look at. No disrespect if you're watching Gaffer, ex-Gaffer. But I wouldn't like to take a bollocking off Neil Harris.
No.
He scares the shit out of me even now. I don't even know why. But could you? That wouldn't have. I say this, it might have been pretty last night, but that wouldn't have happened under Harris because he wouldn't have a lot of the players. He'd have probably worse players, but older players, harder players. And if we got a little bit early on the, I'm all for signing these youngsters and Obafemi, Tanganga. Who else is on loan? Norton Cuffy. But they're not scary players, are they? Do you know what I mean? But they're not going to be if they're going to be very technical, pretty football players. You're never going to combine the mold of Millwall wanting to play a certain way. Is it always going to have to be kick, bollock, and bite?
I think we've got a mixture of technical players and direct players, but the problem is that you're trying to make the direct players play technical, and it don't work. You have to have, if you're going to have 11 players on the pitch, you have to have either 11. With Neil Harris, we had 11 direct players. Yeah. And that's why it worked. And if Joe Edwards wants to play this way, he has to have 11 technical players on the pitch.
Yeah.
You can't have 10, you've got to have 11. And we've got 4 at best technical players and 6 direct players all trying to play technical football. It don't work.
It's a really good point. The combination don't work. Steve Lees has made a really good point there. This is what I'm after tonight. Something a bit different. Do you know what I mean? I said this on the last debate. Where is Rowett's legacy player-wise? Last night's first 11, we had Sarkic, terrible, Harding, poor, Honeyman, and Fleming, okay. All the rest were Harris signings.
Wow.
And that fits into what you say, Ken, about trying to mask it and not trying to improve it. He was a stabiliser, Rowett, but all the time we done okay, and people will go, well, hang on, we finished 11th, 9th, and 8th. We didn't really improve, did we? And now we've sort of been left behind, Ken.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were very, very fortunate to get into them positions under Rowett, and there was always going to be a drop. And we'll say this all the time, and we'll probably talk about Rowett in 20 years' time. We'll still be sat in these seats doing these videos, but Rowett knew it was time to go. He knew what was coming because he couldn't hold on to that bag of shit anymore.
Yeah, everyone's saying it here. Look, Alex S. GR has left us in a state by using loans and signings and aging players. Plus, we still have about 8 players from the Neil Harris tenure, and it's very true. And Harris, Harris did very well for us at a time when, 6-7 years ago, that team was fine. I think we had Bart in goal. He signed back 4. Who do we have? I'm fucking struggling to think. Hutchinson, Cooper, maybe Murray Wallace at left back.
Romeo
at right back. And then you had Sean Williams in centre midfield with George Saville. You had maybe Ben Marshall left. Jed Wallace right. And then Morrison and Gregory up front. It's a very atom team, isn't it? Sean Williams was like the playmaker, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, look when you go through them players, there isn't, I wouldn't even say Jed Wallace is technical. Jed Wallace was very direct.
No, that's what I'm saying. They're all, I mean, Williams, you'd say, is the playmaker out of that team. The rest of them, fucking up and at them, and 2 goal scorers.
Yeah.
Leroy and Blue, basic defensive errors are costing us dearly. Yeah, they are. And I said, we seem to get punished for every fucking slight mistake we make. Whereas at the other end of the pitch, that doesn't happen. I don't really blame the strikers. I just don't think we get enough people in the box. And I've seen Norton Cuffy over a few weeks till he got injured, putting some really good balls, and it's like just fucking no one in there. Like it's weird. Hard to explain. Steve Morrison, no moaning or crying from Edwards last night, like Rowett did at Carrow Road. Yeah, I noticed that. They've had Rowett on the last 2 games. We're all sitting there with his glasses on. There you go.
But you can't blame strikers, Dan. I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying in general, you can't blame strikers. We've got 1 striker in the team. Well, we've got a couple now, but you've got Tom Bradshaw, right? Tom Bradshaw has got the heart of a lion. He does not stop running for this team. But if you want the honest reality about it, he shouldn't be doing all of that running, right? What he should be doing is he should be able to get himself in positions for crosses into the box, balls in behind. And, how many shots does Tom Bradshaw have in a game compared to how much running he does to try and get the ball back after we've lost it? And this is what I mean about us basics pushing further up the pitch, having wingers that can actually create opportunities for strikers like Tom Bradshaw. You know, I'm not saying he's the best striker in the Championship. He's not, but he's the best striker at Millwall that can score us goals, and especially at a time like this.
Mm. And mate, like fucking last night, I always said it's like you as a kid, you want to, if you're a centre forward, or, I don't know, you want to score goals, you want to give opportunities to shoot, and they just don't get anywhere near enough opportunities to shoot. I mean, at the minute we signed this Adam Mayer kid, right? He's a left winger. He's a pacey left winger. Now we signed him just playing, but he couldn't be any worse than Watmore and Fleming have been lately. From what I've seen of him, he tries to take on his man or nick a yard and fire across him. He's left-footed, so get him on the left, right? Get fucking Norton Cuffy back on the right if he's fit. I think he's pretty much fit now, and he's not ideal for me, but he does run, try and get past people, and get balls into the box, and he has done that for Bradshaw against QPR. Saville put the one in for Bradshaw against QPR. Norton Cuffy put the one in against Norwich, didn't he? But that's what we need: balls into the box.
Yeah.
And then get the two strikers on, but then them balls into the box have got to be low and across the face of goal because Marco for me is really fucking little. Or maybe playing extra midfielders like Denor and knock balls through the lines because Obafemi's not had one opportunity to run on and beat a defender for pace. And he definitely have the space because the teams we're playing are so fucking high against us. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, mate. Maybe someone said in the comments there, maybe it is a poison chalice. Look, there is loads and loads of comments, loads and loads. And I ain't feeling fucking great, if I'm honest. It's been down an hour and 21 minutes. We might have to end it there, but thanks for watching, everyone. Subscribe if you haven't. And maybe we'll do this again fucking next Thursday, Ken. And the people that didn't get the opportunity to say things, they can have another go, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's good to, next week we might all be happy.
Well, look, I think if we get the result against Sheffield Wednesday, again, it keeps that fucking fire burning from underneath at bay, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's all it does. I think he's under a lot of pressure on Saturday. One, because we should win, and two, because that team that we're playing, we've had the most formidable win against under his tenure. And unfortunately, if we lose to Sheffield Wednesday at home, it almost indicates that we have gone downhill.
Yeah. Sorry, just going to read that one. Daryl Longworth. No fight, no bollocks, no sticking together. We need a Rhino or a Terrierlock. Someone with a pair of bollocks who's going to take no shit. We need 3 or 4 of them in the team. But like me and Kenny said, I'm not disagreeing. The way Edwards is trying to play is more... I mean, he said he didn't want to overplay either. He said a little bit of playing, a little bit of fucking directness, but we need... I just don't think they make footballers like that anymore. Don't think they make them like that anymore. But that's the whole fucking foundation that Mill Football Club's built on.
Mm.
Is that dying out now? Is it time to go this other way? But just I know there seems to be more fight. There needs to be more togetherness.
I think you can still have a mixture. You can still have a mixture. Who was the Chelsea kid that we were linked with? I can't remember his name. But I watched him the other day. He came on against Palace, I think it was. And he is so aggressive in people's faces, up for a tackle, ready to go, shouting and hollering. And you're right. Them players don't come around that often, but you can make a player like that. You could turn around and say to Saville, for instance, Saville, I need you, aggressive, shouting in people's ears. Don't be the rest of the team's best mate. Roy Keane at Man United, right, was feared and hated by most of his teammates, but respected. But respected at a completely different level. And that's what we need. We need that type of player that's going to turn around and go, "You're playing shit. Step up," and not be worried about it.
Well, hopefully, I'll.
You're dying there, mate.
Yeah, I'm struggling. Yeah, I'm struggling to breathe. Then I lost my breath a bit. Yeah, hopefully I'll be back in action. I will do a preview tomorrow, and I will be at the Den Saturday. Even if I fall on my sword at full time, and that's the end of everything, I am going to go. But we'll do more of this because it definitely does seem to be like the talk of the fucking fan base at the minute. Manager in, manager out. But we could be sitting here next Thursday saying, who's next? Who knows? But thanks for tuning in, everyone. Thanks, Ken, for joining us. Give me the late call. Appreciate that because I'm struggling by myself. And let's hope they can fucking sort it out. Please subscribe to Lions TV.
Come on, you Lions.